Hi, this is Maria, and in case you wanted to know how I drew this flower, I didn't. These are made with Procreate brushes, purchased from Gollan Designs, and if you go into her Etsy, I'll link all of her info in the little link on the bottom here, the information for the video. This one is called Flowers and Leaves. It comes with all of these brushes. And I used this pack, and I used the illustration pack for a texture brush. It comes with all of these, but this is the only one I used out of that pack. And I'm simply going to, this is my finished product, I'm simply going to delete the layers so that I can show you from scratch how I did it. Okay, so first I'm going to pick a pretty brown. A lot of these palettes she has given us in newsletters, so if you don't belong to her newsletter, you should subscribe. I'm going to pick a pretty brown. I'm going to go to my brushes, find my Flowers and Leaves, and I want the sunflower. So I'm going to make that flower pretty big. You've got sizing and opacity here, how bright you want that flower. I want it full opacity and pretty big. If you tap once on the screen, you get a flower. Simple as that. Okay, now I'm going to make that layer a reference layer. I'm going to add my colors in on a new layer, so when I color, they'll be inside the lines. So now I'm going to select a pretty color for my flowers. I'm in a new layer, and my original flower layer is called, it is a reference. See the check mark still there. I'm going to work in the color layer. I'm going to click select and automatic. That will let me pick and choose which ones of these I want to color. 2-finger tap erases. Yeah, you need to erase every once in a while. And I'm just going to pick every other for my colors here. If you click a line, you highlight the line, and I didn't want to do that, so we'll just back up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to click my layers. Since I'm selected, I can click and fill only the selected layer. Okay, now if I find I miss something or I don't like something, I can start over, or I can even just drag my circle and do it that way if I really wanted to. Okay, if you find you make a mistake or you want to add something, just be inside the lines when you do it, and you can get away with that. Okay, I'm going to go to another layer. I merge all these layers later, so that's why you only saw 2 layers earlier. I'm going to pick another color that's similar but not the same. I'm in a new layer. I'm going to click select, automatic, and I'm going to do the same thing again. You don't have to do this every other that I'm doing. I just found it easier to make it match later. I'm still selected, click the layer, fill layer, and now I've got those in there. One more layer, pick another color. Maybe a little darker. Let's see what that looks like. 2-finger tap. About that one. It's very close. That's better. That's a little bit different. So we'll select all the remaining ones. Go back to the layer. Fill the layer, and now all of those are the same color. Okay, am going to merge all of those so that I now have the flower on one layer. Okay, I'm going to add a layer, go back to a pretty brown, and now I go to my illustration pack for the texture brush. Make sure it's not too big, and it just puts little dots everywhere. So it looks like this, but I find it gives you just enough color without coloring the whole thing in. You can still see the circles there in the background. Alright, you can merge those layers too or leave them separate, it's up to you. I'm going to add a layer. I'm going to pick a color that is really, really light. Let's pick really light yellow. I'm still in that texture brush, and I'm going to give my petals a bit of a highlight. Just to make it more interesting, not just a plain boring color. Now because I'm all in one layer, I can color them all. So I'm laying a very light yellow in here over top of what's already there. And it just gives it a little interest. You can certainly skip this step. And perhaps you may want to leave the outline of the flower in a different step, because in a different layer I merge them. Because as you can see, I'm erasing the line. Two finger tap. I made that go forward one. You see how I kind of erased a little bit? So I can just make the little stippling a lot smaller so I still get the effect I want without erasing the line. So now we know, don't merge the outline of the flower into the colors. Live and learn. I knew that, but I took a risk, so sometimes you have to take risks. Alright. Who knew I was a risk taker? Sometimes. Nope, too much. Two finger tap. Make that smaller. Okay, so there's that. Let's go one more layer. I'm going to get a bolder orange. I'm still in the same texture brush. And I'm just going to darken up the just the inside here, the lower part of the petals. Okay. If I want to soften that line, you have a soften brush here, and it just makes everything fuzzy, so you don't have harsh lines there at the end. There shouldn't be harsh lines anywhere because it's kind of a stippling brush, but it just softens. That's this tool here. Okay, so now let's go to add another layer. I'm going to switch to a brown. Go back to my brushes, back to my flowers and leaves, and I'm going to get this one, leaf spray. You can make that as big or as small as you want. Two finger tap, make that bigger. Okay, new layer. I'm going to pick a green. Just pick a green wherever you have one. Go back to my brushes, and it just so happens that this spray matches pretty closely. Now you need to make sure you're in a different layer so you can arrow tool and do this individually. And then you flip horizontal, and lo and behold, look at that. It lines up pretty darn close. If I put that green underneath the brown, look at that. That is pretty neato. So I'm going to merge those two together. So now my leaf is on one layer. I can move it together. I'm going to put 2 fingers on the screen, rotate, and I'm going to place it behind my flower. Now that I'm happy with my flower, I can mix all these layers together. You don't have to do that, but I'm done with the flower. So now I'm working on the leaves. I'm going to slide and duplicate. And I've already made it once. I'm not going to make it again. I'm just going to reuse that leaf over and over. Duplicate. Place it where I want it. So I find that working in threes looks better. So this is not going to be exactly like my other one, but it's going to be close. So odd numbers of leaves tend to look nicer. I'm going to put a little one up here, just a little bit smaller. Duplicate. I'm just duplicating leaves left and right here. A little one down here. You can flip it and make it go the other way just so they're not all the same. Duplicate. And voila. I have a nice little spray here. If you don't like one, figure out which one it is you don't like and move it. This is why it's good to work in layers. Whoops, I don't want that one. I want, nope, that one. If you're working in layers, you can move them around. However you want them. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to go back to my layers, deselect my background color, go to my wrench tool, share, PNG, save the image to the camera roll, and that puts it right here. And now I can use this image without a background anywhere in GoodNotes or anywhere else. So let's see, I used it in a design earlier here, but you can use it by itself just like this. Done. Thank you for watching.